I think the mental side, living off grid, is probably the most important thing to conquer. You've got to have the right frame of mind to be able to do this. You've got to love your own company. You have to be really self-motivated, self-driven. They're the key aspects to this, especially if you're planning on doing this on your own. It's a real different experience if you're used to being around your family, or you're used to being around friends, or used to being around so much tech. When you come out into nature, it's just you and nature. You've got to have that mental attitude. What I found, it's good to set yourself projects or tasks, and when you go through the process of creating something or producing something, it just gives you that confidence and that well-being. It's hard to put your finger on, the one aspect of mental, but it's a variety of many things that keeps you living like this off grid. I'm quite lucky because my wife is quite keen at this kind of thing, and my two daughters are very keen. But if it was me on my own for a long period of time, then it's a whole different ball game. Solo, long term is quite hard to do. We're creatures of interaction. We love interacting with other people. So keep that in mind if you're planning on doing this and you're planning on doing it solo. You've got no one to share your experience with. It's just you. So if you can't please yourself and you can't motivate yourself, and things go wrong and you have a bad day, there's no one here to pick you up. There's no one here to give you confidence. There's no one here to give you praise. It's all got to come from you. It's all got to come from within. But that process that you go through doing it solo is a great process. You really learn about yourself. You really learn your positives and your weaknesses, and if you identify them, you can work on your negatives, eradicate them, or work alongside them, so you can understand yourself a bit more. So when you do get in a situation that you feel a bit dejected, or your confidence is waning, or your self-esteem's waning, or you just can't be bothered, then you can kind of tap into what you've learned and apply it. That's the beauty of this kind of lifestyle. You really get to sit back and think about yourself and analyse yourself and realise who you are and what you are. So that's one of the main aspects I like about doing this. It's really good. You don't get it short term. You don't get them feelings at all. They don't crop up. You get them feelings long term, and that's how I can explain it really. When I first started, the long term stuff, when I'd done the teepee diaries, it was a whole new experience, because I've been doing 72, 96 hours, and you're not getting them same feelings. So when you do 6, 7, 8 weeks or longer, your whole mental side of things changes, and sometimes you have to go there to see what it's like. You're opening another door in your mind And if you open a door and you don't like what's on the other side of it, then you can always go home, or you can try and work with it. So mental is definitely one of the things high up for me. That's one of the things, the main skills I've learned through doing this, is have a great mental attitude, and each day is so enjoyable. We're humans, so some days things are going to go wrong. You're going to wake up and you're going to feel dejected. You're going to wake up and the weather's miserable and you just feel rotten and you're cold, and you get them days. But when it's like this, it's them days don't seem an issue at all. So remember that, and same again with winter. There's some long nights. So how do you occupy yourself? How do you occupy your mind? I think you can slow down the longer you're out here. Your mind slows down, your pace of life slows down, but you still need some stimulus, especially if you're the kind of person that likes a lot of stimulation. So you're going to have a radio of some sorts, writing, a musical instrument, your phone, if you could get a signal to talk to your family or friends, a good book, or carving. You have to have something to keep you stimulated. You can't just come into a woodland and long-term camp and not stimulate your mind with something. You can only stay non-stimulated for so long, and then you don't think straight when you're not stimulated. You tend not to focus, or confidence goes down, and that's how I can kind of explain it. So stay stimulated, stay focused, well driven. But I think that comes with doing it. If it is cold and you haven't got a lot of firewood, you have to dig in and you have to go and get your firewood, and you have to do your cooking when you're hungry, and when it's cold you've got to dig deep sometimes. And being in organisations as well, you're always motivated by other people. It's so easy for others to motivate you or to give you tasks. You follow them tasks, you follow them orders, and you get the job done. But when it's just you giving the orders out, you might say, I'll leave it till tomorrow, or leave it till next week, or I can't be bothered today, or you have to really be driven. You have to be well motivated. You have to inspire yourself. That's how I kind of put it into words. It's quite hard putting it into words, but that's how I see it. That's how I can express it. But for people that have done it, they'll be able to understand this mental side of living off grid, and be able to relate to it. Where before, when I heard a few people talking about it, it's not really discussed massively. But you tend not to understand until you've been there yourself, till you've opened that door and you kind of witness the experience of, can I self-motivate, can I self-drive myself, can I keep smiling when I feel real miserable and cold and damp and wet, can I still keep smiling? And I think that's the key. Whatever nature throws at you, or whatever you throw at yourself, just to keep smiling and to pull every positive out of every negative. And that's really good when you leave the woodland and you go back into into Civvy Street, as I call it. You can apply what you've learned here to there, and that's really good. And then the other mental side of it is readjusting between this world and the world out there. Now that's hard as well. You've lived in this environment, in this peace and tranquility, no stimulation. I call it the round world, and outside the square world. So it's a massive transformation, and it takes me about probably a day and a night to readjust, depending on how long I've spent at home, to readjust into this different world. And then the same when I get home as well, I have to readjust at home, and then you slowly settle in. It's amazing how adaptable human beings are. I've learned that as well. You know, when you come out here, you have to readapt, and then when you go home, you have to readapt again. So, and it's so easy not to come out and do it, because it's so easy at home. You've got everything, but you haven't got the peace, and you haven't got nature all around you, and that becomes addictive. So if you're thinking of starting this, or you're thinking of doing a long-term camp out, keep this chat in mind, because some things will ring true. Don't forget, we're all different as well, but I think the basis of it is the same. I think we'll all get that, one of them feelings when we're outside. And you know, that's why I quite like watching the Alone series. If you've never seen it, it's on the History Channel. Alone. 10 participants go out in remote locations, all solo, and it's the last person still out there that wins the competition. And it's quite true to life, and you see the mental aspects on them people. I recognise it, because I've been there in my mind, so I can recognise it in their minds. So I thought I'd cover that topic, the mental side of doing something like this. It all looks really nice and really beautiful sometimes, but you do get them aspects of the mental things crop up in your mind. But I can't say I think I've worked myself out enough now that I don't get a bad day. I tend to, every day is beautiful. I just pull every positive out of every day now, even if you do get a bad day, especially in the winter. You know, I just pull the positives out all the time. I just can't see negatives. So I think nature has taught me that. It's taught me to be a really positive person and well-driven individual. So don't forget, when you're going in to do this, work on that mindset as much as you can at home, because when you come out here, you can apply it to your day-to-day living. So I'll wrap that one up with that. Any questions on that side of things, just leave it in the comments. I'm going to sit here and enjoy the rest of the evening, I think. Gorgeous.